Imagine that every fourth light bulb in America lights up thanks to you, and your name is associated not only with wealth, but also with the words power and influence. This is the position of John D. Rockefeller at the top of his business empire. Rockefeller controlled more than 90% of the oil industry at a time when almost every home was lit by gas lamps. His income was so huge that, in today's terms, it amounted to about $400 billion. How will he manage to create such a monumental empire and reach this level of influence? How did one company become virtually synonymous with the very fuel that drove progress? His path to success, ruthless methods, and unique approach to business caused not only admiration, but also many questions. Today, we will dive into the life of an ideologue of oil monopoly. We'll learn how he started, how he built a business from the bottom, and how to successfully reach such heights. Are you ready to uncover the secrets of his influence and wealth? John D. Rockefeller was born in 1839 in the small town of Richford, New York. His childhood did not promise either wealth or a great future. In contrast, Rockefeller's life began in simple circumstances, far from the luxury or influence with which he was later associated. It was a world of small huts, daily worries, and a lot of responsibilities, far from the modern vision of a successful start in life. His father, William Avery Rockefeller, left a bad mark on John's life. William had a dubious reputation. In those days, he was known as a small-time swindler and a self-proclaimed doctor. He made a living using rather risky businesses and even fraud. And although some were disgusted by this, little John carefully watched his parents. Unfortunately, from today's business stories, where the children of the rich often follow the successful examples of their parents, John had a different task: to learn to survive and take the best of what was available. Looking at his father, he understood the value of intelligence, caution, and, of course, the desire to grow. But at the same time, he learned an important lesson for himself: to avoid paths that could lead to disgrace. John's mother, Eliza Rockefeller, also had a huge influence on his character. Unlike her father, she instilled in John values such as decency, patience, and thrift. John later said that his mother taught him economics, even in the smallest things, which would become an important principle in his business career. It's like having two sides of the same coin: paternal pragmatism and maternal ethical foundation. This combination became a powerful tool that Rockefeller would use to achieve his goals. In his teenage years, John was an ordinary country boy, without any particular visible ambitions. His duties included the simplest but important tasks: chopping wood, tending the farm, helping his mother. Given the current opportunities for startups and the ease with which some young people create businesses, John's path seems like a real old-school one. He went through all stages of work, from the simplest tasks to the first ambitious steps, understanding the value of every dollar and every hour. He got his first job as an accountant's assistant, earning only 50 cents a day, but he did not look down upon it. He studied diligently, calculated every penny, and this gave him a considerable advantage. Today, when young entrepreneurs are often looking for quick and easy ways to succeed, John took a different route. Slow but sure. His first salary was modest, but he saw every cent as an opportunity for future investment. And although the path began modestly, John already had a great goal, which he would soon turn into reality. After teenage years spent in hard labor, Rockefeller made a fateful decision. At the age of 16, he dropped out of school and decided to devote himself to business. He didn't have big startup capital or access to influential connections, but he did have one thing: an unwavering desire to achieve something bigger. His starting capital consisted of a small amount saved at work and a modest position from his father. In 1859, John Rockefeller, who was only 20 years old, founded his first company, the Rockefeller and Clark brokerage firm, which specialized in buying and selling grain. It was a humble beginning at the time, but it laid the foundation for a future empire. At that time, the oil market in the United States was just beginning to emerge, and John saw a unique opportunity in this. In 1863, after collecting their first profits, Rockefeller and his partners invested in their first oil refinery. This decision was revolutionary. While most entrepreneurs of the time were more interested in oil production, Rockefeller realized that oil refining offered a more stable income because it was no longer dependent on production. Such a strategy showed his foresight, and thanks to this, the oil refining business became the basis for building an empire. Rockefeller's first oil refinery was located in Cleveland, a location that combined convenient logistics and proximity to new oil fields in Pennsylvania. For John, this was a strategic choice, and he quickly saw the advantage. Thanks to the favorable location, his company could reduce transportation costs and ensure quality control over the production process. In his company, Rockefeller emphasized economy and efficiency, which became his main business strategies for many years. With the development of the Rockefeller's oil refining business, one of his strongest traits became ruthlessness in business. He was willing to do anything to succeed, and this was clearly demonstrated when he bought out his partner in the company. A few years after the establishment of the first plant, Rockefeller bought out part of the company of his business partner at a reduced price, taking advantage of the economic difficulties that the company was facing. This move allowed him to gain full control over the firm and lay the foundation for building his own empire. At that time, most entrepreneurs believed that competition was a necessary condition for success in the market. However, Rockefeller believed otherwise. He strived for complete control over the market and did everything possible to destroy competitors. Through his dedication, strategic thinking, and almost ruthless approach, he began building an empire that would soon change the U.S. petroleum industry. Rockefeller clearly understood that small steps can lead to big changes. In 1870, he founded his famous company, Standard Oil, which quickly became the market leader. John concentrated on oil refining, after which it provided steady income and stability. His knowledge of economics, his drive for maximum efficiency, and his investment in scientific research allowed him to use resources that others considered useless. Thanks to this approach, Standard Oil was able to achieve incredible growth, and Rockefeller took an important step toward establishing a monopoly in the American market. Thus ended the first stages of his business activities, which later grew into a huge monopoly and made John Rockefeller one of the greatest people of his time. When Rockefeller was first building his business empire, his methods caused as much admiration as outrage. For many, he was the embodiment of the American dream, a man who rose from nothing and became the richest man in the country. For others, however, Rockefeller was a symbol of greed, speed, and corporate arbitrariness. Rockefeller built his empire with extreme thoroughness and coolness. Standard Oil used strategies that, in today's world, would cause instant outrage and would most likely lead to extensive investigations. But in those days, legislation did not reach the ingenuity of businessmen. For example, Rockefeller negotiated with the railroad companies exclusive discounts on the transportation of oil, while his competitors were forced to pay full price. This gave Standard Oil a huge advantage. It could price its products lower than others and drive them out of the market. Rockefeller did not stop there. If the company did not agree to sell to him, he simply suffocated it with prices, leading to bankruptcy. The press and the public began to compare Standard Oil to a monstrous 8-tentacled monster whose tentacles enveloped the nation's economy. In the images that circulated in the newspapers, Standard Oil literally captured every industry, from shipping to government. Gradually, Standard Oil became a symbol of corporate malfeasance, and Rockefeller became the face of these practices. Public outrage and pressure led to the adoption of the first antitrust legislation in the United States, the Sherman Act of 1890. This law was intended to protect competition and make business fairer and monopolies controlled. However, Rockefeller also found ways to circumvent it. Even after the division of Standard Oil into several companies, control over them remained in the hands of the same family and its related persons. In 1911, after almost 20 years of litigation, the U.S. Supreme Court made the final decision. Standard Oil should be divided into 34 independent companies. This decision was the beginning of the largest monopoly of its time, but it did not mean the end for Rockefeller. He remained a shareholder in all the new companies and made even more money after the split, as the latter's stock value skyrocketed. This process of separation and public pressure left its mark on Rockefeller. After these events, he gradually withdrew from business management and devoted more time to charity. The protest, a struggle against public outrage, became a natural part of the most visible chapters of his life. It also serves as a reminder that success of this scale always has a dark side. When John Rockefeller's oil business reached its peak and his name became synonymous with power and influence, Rockefeller unexpectedly chose a new path. Unlike other businessmen who often spent their fortunes on a luxurious life, Rockefeller decided to invest his wealth in something more important and profound: the future of society. The move to philanthropy was partly a forced move for Rockefeller, after which society and the media continued to condemn his corporate actions. But he also had a personal motivation. His deep religious convictions, formed in childhood under the influence of his mother and the Bible, inspired him to want to help others. Rockefeller felt that this was how he could achieve a true legacy, leaving behind not only a business empire but also a footprint that would make other people's lives better. One of the first great steps in philanthropy was the creation of the Rockefeller Foundation in 1913, which became the basis for many projects aimed at improving healthcare, education, and scientific research. His foundation seeks to overcome not only the consequences of poverty, but also its very cause. This approach has generated unprecedented social impact. The foundation has funded programs to fight malaria, anemia, and hookworm that have affected millions of people around the world. One of the internal funds found was related to education. Rockefeller believed that knowledge is the most powerful weapon for social change. He invested heavily in universities, such as the University of Chicago and Rockefeller University in New York, creating conditions for groundbreaking research and training new generations of scientists. Rockefeller-backed universities and research institutes became other centers of innovation and continue to this day. Rockefeller was also interested in social reforms. The foundation funded research aimed at improving working and living conditions for ordinary people and supported health initiatives. However, he realized that real change requires a systemic approach. Therefore, the foundation invested resources in the development of policies that could have a long-lasting effect. Rockefeller saw every step in philanthropy as an investment in the future. He changed not only his own fate, but also the fate of many people. His philanthropic activity provided the world with an invaluable contribution to the development of medical and educational systems, making him a true innovator in the field of charity. The legacy of John Rockefeller, one of the most famous and successful businessmen in history, has not only stood the test of time, but continued to influence generations of his descendants. The Rockefeller family changed its reputation from a notorious capitalist magnate to one of the most famous philanthropic families in the world. Over the years, they have maintained John's family principles and religious beliefs, wanting to leave their mark on the world through social reform, scientific achievement, and support of cultural initiatives. One important event that underscores the lasting influence of this family is the founding of the Rockefeller Fraternal Organization, which unites family members to address public issues. This organization involves the entire generation of Rockefellers in discussions and implementation of initiatives aimed at improving living conditions in the world. And although each descendant has his own path, the common philanthropic mission of the family is unity and preservation. The family legacy of the Rockefellers can also be seen in their investments in a sustainable future. Today, the Rockefeller Family Foundation actively finances projects that contribute to the development of environmental sustainability, the fight against climate change, and the improvement of living conditions in communities. Seeking to follow new challenges, The foundation allocates funds for the development of clean energy, scientific research in the field of ecology, and support for various organizations that advocate environmental protection. Thus, Rockefeller's descendants continue his mission in the modern world, taking his responsible wealth management principle to a new level. Another important area of activity of the Rockefeller family is the development of cultural heritage. Through the Museum of Modern Art, MoMA, founded with the support of the Rockefeller family in 1929, they promote and support contemporary art. MoMA has become one of the most famous museums in the world, and its activities have a significant impact on the cultural sphere and society in general. The Rockefellers believe that art can change people, stimulate critical thinking, and inspire positive change in society. Today, the family also continues to support educational institutions and research institutes, including Rockefeller University, that specialize in medical and scientific research. Thanks to the support of the family, this university remains one of the most advanced research centers in the world, conducting groundbreaking research in the fields of biology, medicine, and healthcare. It is important to note that the Rockefeller family was able to create a unique model of intergenerational succession. Instead of focusing on preserving only financial capital, the Rockefellers pass on the ideals and philosophy of philanthropy to the next generation. This model, built on the principles of responsibility, service, and innovation, helped them not only to maintain influence, but also to constantly adapt it to the new needs of society. Thanks to their activities, the Rockefeller family today has become a symbol of a successful and conscious approach to wealth. Their legacy is not only a business empire, but also a commitment to society. John Rockefeller left not only a financial footprint, but also an invaluable set of lessons that remain relevant for entrepreneurs even today. His approach to business, quality features, and life principles became a guide for the next generations. Rockefeller, building his empire from scratch, not only discovered the secrets of success, but also formed a philosophy that tells how to become successful in any field. Let's take a look at the key lessons that can inspire today's entrepreneurs. One of Rockefeller's greatest strengths was his ability to see beyond the current moment and work toward visionary goals. Instead of chasing quick profits, he faced global challenges that required time, effort, and patience. He understood that real success would come not through short-term gains, but through building a sustainable and stable business. Today's entrepreneurs can learn from Rockefeller the importance of strategic thinking and planning for years ahead. Instead of getting caught up in immediate results, it's important to create visions that motivate you to work toward bigger goals. Rockefeller believed that business should always evolve and adapt to changing market conditions. He was constantly looking for new ways to optimize and improve his company. His approach to reducing costs and maximizing efficiency, from using refinery waste to finding new markets, helps Standard Oil stay on top. For modern entrepreneurs, this means that you can't rest on your laurels. It is necessary to constantly analyze the market, implement innovations, and look for ways to improve products and services. Flexibility and adaptability in today's fast-paced business environment are key success factors. Although Rockefeller was not always popular for his tough business methods, his personal reputation as a devoted family man, religious man, and philanthropist helped create the positive image associated with his name today. He understood that reputation has an extraordinary value and can affect a business no less than financial indicators. Today's entrepreneurs often face ethical challenges in business management, so Rockefeller's lesson is to always take care of one's reputation. The company's good name is built on transparency, honesty, and responsibility towards customers and society. One of Rockefeller's main secrets was his talent for using resources as efficiently as possible. His company didn't just extract and sell oil. It used every product of oil refining, creating new markets for selling household products. The approach to rational use of resources significantly reduced costs and increased the profits of Standard Oil. For today's entrepreneurs, this is a reminder of the importance of optimizing resources and reducing costs wherever possible. Using resources with maximum result is also a step towards sustainable development, which is achievable for modern society. Rockefeller built his empire at a time when the oil industry was in its infancy, and his decision to invest in this industry was a bold one. He understood that new opportunities often come in the form of risk, and was ready to change if the situation called for it. Today's entrepreneurs can learn from this lesson. Risk is an integral part of business, but it is important to be able to assess it and not be afraid to make bold decisions. Willingness to change and the ability to adapt to new realities will bring results even in the most difficult times. Rockefeller always valued dedicated employees who worked for the success of his company. He understood that in order to achieve great goals, it is important not only to have qualified employees, but also to create favorable conditions for their development and motivation. In modern business, this idea remains relevant. The success of the company depends on the work of the entrepreneur on his team. Investing in employee development, building a reliable team, and creating a positive culture can become the basis for sustainable business development. Finally, Rockefeller showed by example how important it is to share one's success with society. The creation of numerous charitable foundations, support for medical and educational projects, all this became the foundation of his legacy as a philanthropist. For entrepreneurs, philanthropy is not only an opportunity to give back to modern society, but also a way to create a positive image that works for business development in the long term. Social responsibility helps the company strengthen its connection with the community and increase trust in the brand. These lessons learned from the life of John Rockefeller have become universal principles for businessmen all over the world. They show that real future success depends not only on financial capital, but also on personal qualities, willingness to constantly improve, and leave a mark on the world. For those who dream of great success, Rockefeller's experience can serve as a source of inspiration that motivates them to create businesses capable of changing the world. The story of John Rockefeller is an example of extraordinary willpower, intelligence, and perseverance. His journey from a simple entrepreneur to one of the richest people in history is a reminder that even the highest peaks are achievable if you have a clear vision, work for long-term results, and stay true to your principles. At the same time, his legacy proves that wealth only matters when it benefits others. I wonder, which of Rockefeller's lessons would you like to develop in yourself? Share your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss new stories about legendary entrepreneurs whose names have left an indelible mark on global business.